here in the paddock with trainer Ron Burke. Thanks so much for taking the time. And I have to reach up to get your answer.
Yeah, I'm a little bit taller than most, so
You were originally from Pittsburgh. Share how you got involved with harness racing.
my father had a stable and still is with us. It's still part of Burke Racing. And after school, I wanted to do this, and finally I started doing it with him. And basically, it's the only job I've ever had.
So this is your first job and the only job you've ever had is training.
Yeah, I've never worked for anybody. The only person I've ever worked for was my father, and so it's good in ways and bad in ways, but mostly good.
You're still doing it, so it's got to be good enough. So share, you went to school for a little while, right? Graduated and then came back to the sport.
Yeah, my father's rule is all of us had to actually graduate from college, and then we could come back to the stable if we wanted to. So, we've all graduated from college. 3 of us came back, 2 of us didn't. So it's not a big deal that way, but I think it was a good experience. I got to see things maybe I wouldn't have saw, and probably has helped me down the road.
I know this is going to be an impressive number, but how many horses do you have?
A little bit over 200. As I said, it's right. It usually bounces now around 200. We used to talk about cutting back, but that's not even in the plans anymore. We just add on.
And where are your barns?
We're in Pennsylvania. We have 3. We have 2 at the Meadows, 1 at the track and a training center. We have here Poconos. We have 1 big barn in New Jersey, a barn in Florida, and a barn in Indiana.
So you're covering the map here, especially on the East Coast with horses. Trotters, pacers, any more than others?
No, we're probably known more a little bit for pacers. We have Buckeye St. Pat, who's been the age trotter of the mare 3 years in a row, and but we're known more for Won the West and Foiled Again and horses like that. So I would say we're known more as pacing trainers, but we pretty much always consider us the Walmart of racing. We'll race anything; it doesn't matter.
You had said 5 claimers all the way up to breeders.
Yeah, it doesn't matter to us. I like to race, I like to win, so I get honestly about the same thrill out of winning a 5 claimer. Hell, I like winning qualifiers.
Yeah, so I usually ask people what their average day is like. What's the average week like for you? Because I can imagine you're putting a lot of miles on the car there.
Yeah, no, I move around a lot, and it's not bad. It's something I enjoy, and I like going. It's funny, I don't like the traveling, but when I get to the barns, I'm anxious to see horses I haven't seen in a while, so I like that part. So it's not bad as everybody think it is, but it is fun. If you're doing something you love, it's not a job, it's something you actually like to do. So, I play a game for a living, so I'm not complaining.
Yeah. Right. And you have your driver's license as well, but you don't do too much of it, right?
Yeah, you look the size of me, you want me to, getting drug around behind a horse, so, I'm all right. I can get them around there. I'm not going to kill anybody, but it's safe to say that's all I need to be doing.
What do you like about coming here at Pocono and working with the drivers here?
Honestly, here, I have Matt Kikali, who I think is, the top young driver in the sport, and, he's very receptive to learning, and, and the other guys, I see David Miller and Jason, guys that drive my horses elsewhere, and they get to talk to him. So, it's really became, one of the top, if not the top place in harness racing to race because the money's great, the money's getting better, and the track is the best in the country.
We talked about that a little bit beforehand with the introduction of slots and table games. How has that changed the sport here in the state?
It basically saved it. It was gone. It was a dying sport. And, and I think we're starting to see that there's more interest in it because there's more better horses coming, better drivers, and it's made it a better sport again. So, the horses and the drivers and the trainers are going to follow where the money is. And, the money's in PA now, and, it's been especially beneficial to us because we were already set up in PA. So for us, it's been very good.
Absolutely. On race nights, are there certain drivers that you feel do better with certain horses, and how do you come up with that pairing?
Really, for me, it's more certain drivers are better for certain barns. Matt drives almost all my horses here. Yannick drives all my horses at Chester and mostly at Yonkers. And then Brian Sears and Yannick drives them at the Meadowlands. And then Dave Pallone drives almost all of them at the Meadows. And Ricky McCumber drives almost all of them at Pocono. So I find that I like to have a steady driver. It works good for me. But, I'll move it, change a driver if I have to for a horse. But I think it's good to have, like minds, or, even sometimes it's better to have non-like. So I always want them sent. Brian sometimes has to remind me that they're not cars, so.
So working with the horses and then going into a race, what's that conversation like? What are you telling the drivers before they head out there?
It's funny, other than if I have to tell them that something's different than how they have been, I don't tell them anything. basically if I need to start telling them how to drive, then I might as well just get another driver. So, only time I tell them is if a horse has had an especially bad or especially good week, and that I'm expecting a different performance than, that they should expect. So, really, I let them keep it to themselves, and as long as things have been good that week, I don't say anything. If things have been real bad, then maybe I'll let them know that, maybe they're not going to be as good as we hoped.
With the experience you have, what are some words of wisdom you could share with people who are up and coming here in the business?
The biggest thing, and I think it's been lost a little bit, is ask the people that came before you what to do and how to do it. I mean, I spent my whole time as a Meadows growing up with Dickie Stillings, who should be in the Hall of Fame, Doug Snyder, Bill Zent, guys that have done well, and just, constantly asked them, well, why do you do this? Why do you do that? And, I'm not saying it's all got to be gospel, but you know what? You can ask enough people enough questions, you'll start to figure it out on your own, if not, with them pushing you along.
Can you tell us about your colors?
Yeah, they're the same as my father's. It's actually gray, gold, and white, and they're exact father. It's family sets. Everybody from our family wears the same, so I like that. It's tradition. I'm big on tradition.
And your father now, he's down in Florida. Do you get to go down and see him pretty often?
Yeah, we get to see him, and honestly, he's an amazing guy. He's 75 years old. He still goes with probably 10 a day, and he's back. He'll be back here. He'll be back at Poconos. He'll be up here this summer. He loves to travel. He loves to come see everybody. I always say I do this to make a living. He does this because he loves it.
And I can imagine you would like to travel, especially with the April that we've had, maybe down to see him a bit too.
Yeah, no, this is getting tough. I'm not much of a complainer about weather, but even I find myself whining a little bit.
I know, you grow up in the Northeast, you come to expect it, right? So right now, Ron, we're going to put you in something called the lightning round. And just going to throw a couple questions out there, whatever pops in your mind. What's on your iPod right now?
I'm a big fan of Eminem, and pretty much it's even getting to be hardcore rap, so I'm a little bit off the wall, I guess, that way.
I'm picturing you with like the sideways cap, cruising down the turnpike.
I'm just looking at it.
What about your favorite drink?
I've just switched. It's vodka tonic. It's been vodka, grapefruit, and cranberry for as long as I can remember. I'm trying to cut a few calories, so vodka tonic.
So that's the way to do it. What's a dream vacation for you?
Actually, it's the same one I take every year. We go to Charleston, South Carolina at least once a year for a week. It's my favorite place in the world, and hopefully where I'll end up when I'm all done.
What about your favorite sports team?
Pittsburgh Penguins, probably, but it's close. It's Pittsburgh anything. I'm a hometown boy. I love everything Pittsburgh.
Steelers, all that good stuff. We talked about your first job. What about your first car?
It was a Cutlass Supreme. I got it actually when I graduated from college. My parents, that was due. You went to college, they bought you a new car, and I wrecked it 28 days later.
Did you get another one?
Yeah, I got that too. I've got quite a history of getting a car and wrecking it within the first month.
Patient parents, that's for sure. What about a celebrity crush? Do you have any?
No, not really. I can't really think any. And I'm not a big TV watcher or anything like that, so I would have to say no.
What about a favorite movie?
Shawshank Redemption, easily.
Good. And any idols out there?
Yeah, probably Dickie Stillings. It's one of the guys, I think he's did it all. He's, a great driver. He's a great trainer. He's, had great success. Probably one of the most underrated guys, in the history of the sport.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I appreciate you taking the time to do the interview, and it was great to meet you as well.
No problem. Thank you.
Good luck this season and safe travels.